I know Naya works really hard. So we were absolutely delighted that we were selected. Yeah, very, very for cultural education, and that was 2017.
And I actually like this award because I did it again this year, but and this award is not available anymore. But
it's not available.
Yeah,
that's
I like
right.
this one.
That's all right. We're the only one who's got this award. That's great. We're not going to complain. We like to be the first.
But I'm going to try and get the glass ones. But yeah, well-deserved award for Descendants for all the work you've been doing for the community over the years. And I like to award like the unsung heroes in the community, like you're saying, why wait until somebody's passed before you praise them?
Yeah.
Going around to all the schools and praising all the people involved in supplementary education for children of African heritage, who are doing some really, really hard work, time-consuming and personally expensive work. So I'm highlighting that through NABSS TV. So thank you very much for what you're doing, and you're celebrating 25 years.
We're celebrating 25 years. We had we started off in the Catholic Church hall, and I thought, well, you start off where you started off. That's where you got to celebrate. So we started off with the church mass or church service at the Our Lady of Lourdes Church, and then we had an event afterwards in the church hall. It was so great to see so many of the past parents and children attending. Yeah, it was really good. And we had the Queen's Lieutenant came as well for that event. And one of the things we did, because one thing Descendants like to do, we're a small charity, but we don't want to just focus solely on ourselves. We like to look into what else is there around for our people. And the bone
leukemia.
The Leukemia Trust. Sadly, one of our volunteers has had this problem. So we decided that we were going to focus on raising some funds at that at the anniversary mass.
So was this through the African Caribbean Leukemia Trust?
Yeah, we raised £110 and sent it to them. So just to support the great work they're doing. And we do that quite often. We get the children to do fundraising. We get them, especially one of the biggest things we do is, say, like if there's a hurricane hit in the Caribbean, we've done big events for that. We've sent out money and clothes and things to Syria. We had a doctor who came to Descendants who goes out to Syria and helps out there. So we got the children to do toys in a box, and so they put toys and books and little messages and things for the children out there, and the doctor took it out.
Nice.
And we were overwhelmed with how much support. And I think when Dominica had their big storm and it caused a lot, I put out a message. It happened the 3rd of September, I think. And I put out a message for parents that I need their help. And we were overwhelmed. The amount of stuff. People bought big tins of rice and soups and everything. Toilet paper, and it filled a room upstairs.
Wow.
So when the High Commission came for it, it filled the van. It was Amazing. And it was just how lovely people were to respond, because not everybody was Dominican. It didn't matter where you were from, as long as you had a thing for other people. Everybody just came out. So we like to do some of that. I think it's important not just to focus on yourself, but to focus on teaching the children to focus on what's going on around the world as well.
So what's the future outlook for Descendants?
Well, we're in the process of writing our second book, and that's quite exciting. because it'll tell us the last 15 years. This one took us up to the 10 years. So, 25 years for a small charity is a brilliant, in my opinion, a brilliant achievement. And we couldn't do it without the volunteers. I have my volunteer behind me there, but she wouldn't want to be on the screen. Grace, I'll just mention her name, Grace. She is just brilliant, and she comes every single Thursday. She listens to me moan and groan and carry on.
Wow, Grace, you are amazing.
And she never moans. She tells me off sometimes, but you can't do the job without volunteers. And right now we've got a poster out and about looking for new volunteers, because the children out there need our help. And if you're doing well, at least think to help one child to do well. If we all come together, you don't have to do everything, but you need to give something back. If you've been given something, if you've had luck to get something, then I think you feel good about yourself if you're giving things. I mean, when my daughter writes, she says that Descendants was like living with another family member, because and I'm sure your children say the same thing. Eat, sleep and drink Descendants, or eat, sleep and drink NABSS. But if you believe in what you're doing, because we're not paid, none of us are paid for the 25 years, not one volunteer has been paid. We just do it because we actually believe that our children need help. I think they need help more than even when we started, and it's a pity that we're not actually coming together a bit more, because 25 years, things are just as difficult out there. Very difficult for the children. It's hard. And one of the things I'd like to say is that I think we focus on the negatives so much.
Too much, yeah.
Yeah, we focus on the negatives and we don't focus on the children who are doing amazing jobs out there.
Which is the majority of our children.
Which is the majority. To have that young man, I hadn't seen him for years, to write to me and say he'd like to come back. He's now studying to be a doctor. He'd like to come back to...
this young man here?
Yeah, he'd like to come back.
Coming back? He's a doctor now? So this was one of the many, many success stories that have come out of Descendants, which is in the book, previous book, and then will be coming out in the new book.
That's right, and all the children, they do strive and they do remember. I mean, even if they get into trouble, I think what we've given them is something that will keep them in good stead, to have a positive in their lives. Because my niece, she went into a prison, and she said this boy came up to her and she was talking about Descendants, and he said, I know Descendants, I was given an award.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember who he was, but he wasn't a child. This was a special award because the teachers had nominated him. He was coming into his brother's school to help the school, but obviously he did something wrong, and he told me he was going to he was going to help him, and he was going to try and pass his driving test and all that, but something obviously didn't quite go right. But he remembered, and I hope him holding on to that award will steer him clear, because my niece goes into the prisons and does her organisation goes in and tries to give them positives. But for me, I think we need to give them positives from their younger. We need to have education as something you celebrate and you talk about. We don't only need to hear about what's gone wrong. We need to hear who's doing right and who's working hard. And there are lots and lots of children who are out there. My own granddaughter, hopefully, she wants to become a pilot. Why not?
Indeed.
Why not?
There's a Ghanaian Air Force has got just female pilots.
Yeah. Yeah, I keep putting up these pilots things on Facebook.
Yeah.
And tagging her in them. Because it's not easy. You have to support them through these things, you know. And I've had discussions with her, you know, why do you think children are not doing that well? And she said, you know, a lot of it is the media and the expectation of media. But, you know, I think parents need to do more. You know, we can't get away from just saying out there. Yes, out there is there. Out there's always been there. But you as a parent, it's got to start in your home. You know, you've got to show the children the way to live. You know, it won't always go right, and there'll be problems, there'll be issues, but you need to be there in the center of everything. Get to know their children, get to know their friends,
Definitely.
get to know where they're going, you know, take them there if need be, you know, because they're going to meet other people outside, and who's going to have big influence on them. But you can't just give up and expect other people to do it. They're your children. You have got to go out there and work with them. That's what I believe anyway. You know.
This is when the village comes into the play, because
Yeah.
you know, just one or even two parents, you know, sometimes it's just not enough at times.
Yeah.
And it takes the village to raise a child, as we've been saying for many years.
Yeah, and it's not. Do you know what? On the high street there last year, there was about 100 black children behaving badly on the high street, and I approached one of them because he had all these badges on him. And I said to him, what are you doing here? You need to go home. And he was trying to be rude to me. But I didn't listen to that. What I saw was this child had all these badges, and somebody must think he's good in school. Yeah, so I focused on that. And I said to him, you know, you need to go home. He said, I'm not doing anything. I said, you are, because by being here, you're encouraging the rest of them. Anyway, I went in and came back out, and there he was still there. And I said, I thought you said you were going home. He said, well, I said, come on now, which bus is it you take? And he said, the 266. I said, okay, there it's coming, get on it. And he turned to his friends and he said, I'm going home. And the friend said, why? And he said, I'm going to do my homework. So he's just one child. But do you know, 2 months later, I'm in Ealing, and this boy comes up to me and says, hello. And I said, did you win an achievement award?
Trying to remember where you met him.
Yeah, and I said, your face looks familiar, but I'm not really sure. And he said, I was the naughty boy in Acton. And he said, I'm not really naughty. And I said, no, I know you're not naughty, because I could see all the badges on your thing. So your school has entrusted you with all them badges. And I said, well, you know what? You keep studying hard, keep focusing. And he said, you told me about the achievement awards. And it must have made an impression on him, because he didn't have to say hello to me. Yeah, I didn't recognize him. But he came over to, so we have to, and, and people were saying, oh, you shouldn't have approached them, supposing they had a knife and all of that. But I just can't walk by and see the kids doing the wrong thing and not just say, hey, hold on, think about it. Because this other boy, I was saying to him, how much shares have you got in McDonald's? How much do you own in McDonald's? You're giving them all your money every week, and it's very annoying going in McDonald's and seeing it full up of black children. Really, really annoying. Because I think, has parents stopped cooking? They're hooked on McDonald's, they're hooked on Sam's and all this sort of thing. They should be hooked on your food.
Or hooked up and going home and cooking for themselves.
Well,
yeah, they have to learn.
They have to learn. I learned when I was 10.
Exactly.
I used to have to cook when I came home at 10. Start the food. My mum would tell me what to do, and I would do it. So,
Yeah, he could have bring his friends around his yard and they all can cook together. They can do their own thing.
Well,
It's more of like a social thing, and
yeah,
they get influenced by others, don't they?
Yeah, I don't actually encourage them to bring their friends over like that. When you come from school, you come from school. You have things to do. to sort out, and you don't stay back. You know, I think parents need to make sure their children leave school and come home. Give them a time to come home, because it's in that time when they leave school and they're just wandering. Even if you're not there, you make them come home at a certain time. You give them time to get home. I always gave my children a certain time to get home. If I got there half an hour and they weren't there, they're in trouble, because the time is that you get home. And it does work, because even my son, I thought he would be the most difficult one, but he wasn't. He'd get home on time. If you have something planned at school, that's fine, but you're not just going to hang out the streets. I don't understand this mentality of hanging outside of McDonald's and KFC and
it's just to be seen to be cool and part of the groups, and it's a social peer pressure thing.
But I see the children stuffing the chips, and that's how I have to look at it. Stuffing the chips and stuffing in their face, and they're already fat with all this starchy food they're eating, and it's a treat. It should be a treat, not a dinner.
Well, treat.
Yeah,
Debatable.
No, but it should be a treat, and that's how my children grew up. It was a treat. When you had a birthday party in McDonald's, it was a big thing, because it was a treat. But now,
because it was new, but now it's just old school.
Yeah,
it's not new anymore.
Yeah, they probably don't have parties in there, but they eat there morning, noon, and night, it seems. And these are not children who've got money. If they save that money, they could, at the end of their education, have a lot of money for the next stage, for the university.
Yeah. But like I say, hopefully Descendants will be up and running again soon. Margaret Noel and Descendants, thank you all, you and your team, for what you've been doing for the last 25 years and beyond. Doing a fantastic job, and the children and families have been benefiting for so long. So please get back into educating our children, and you're always going to be around doing something. You're still doing projects now. Yeah,
we're doing projects. We're doing one-off projects at the moment, but we've got a project to do later on this year, because we've got a TSB grant. We've got the Achievement Awards that'll be in July.
As well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's happening in July, and then we've got the launch of the second book that looks as if it's going to happen sometime in Easter.
So you still got a few things to be looking forward to.
Oh yeah, we've and we're restructuring. We've just got a new trustee, because we're a charity, and you can donate if you like.
I hope you do like.
Yeah, you can donate.
Is your website still up?
Our website's still up.
So the link to the website's coming up.
Yeah.
So go onto the website and make a donation, and just share information about Descendants.
And we're looking for volunteers. So if you feel you can motivate children, inspire children, you don't have to be a knowledgeable person in African and Caribbean history. You just have to be willing to learn. Because believe me, I've learned so much in the process of doing Descendants. I don't know everything, and no one knows everything. We're all learning. So we just need to keep on inspiring each other. So if there's any young people out there who's looking for a challenge, I'm looking to retire. So I'm looking for somebody who's motivated, who's motivated to take on the role. I will guide, I will help them, and if you take on the role for 6 months, you never know where it will lead. So, come on, I'm waiting for you.
So Margaret Noel, Descendants, thank you very much from NABSS TV.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Naya. And I'm waiting for your contribution.